report. And as you just read, this is numbers to CRS 1-5607. This is the revised statute, gentlemen, that allows you to authorize a hand count on the upcoming primary for the upcoming general election November 8th. So I know last time I'd asked be able to hopefully get this on the agenda so it can be discussed. As you're aware, at the last Republican Forum, it was a unanimous cheering for being able to not use the vending machines, but to actually use a hand count. That way it can be verified. Then if you want to slip it in the machine, you're more than welcome. But a hand count, a certified hand count, I think would bring back credibility to the election process. There's a lot of doubt right now. So I provided you with the statute that gives you that authorization. Thank you.
Thank you. Close public comments at 1:35. Would you want to say something? No. Okay. At 1:35, close public comments. Open a debate hearing. It is 1:35 on June 22nd. Commissioners Brown, Maez, and Schaaf are all present. And Elliott from the assessor's office. If there's anybody else going to Tasha's here.
So Tasha's here if you have any additional questions, because she's the one that wrote this up, so I'm presenting it.
Okay, this is in reference to, I have the account number. Is that the parcel number?
So I have the account number also.
Do you have the parcel number?
Let me see if I
Would you read that? That's all you understand.
can. So it's 5699-293-04021.
And the owner's name?
Tammy Reed.
Okay. Each side will have 5 minutes. Okay, I guess we'll start with the petitioner. For my instructions, sir. Is she here? Tammy, are you here? Present?
I noticed there was somebody standing outside. I don't know if that's her or not.
Well, I guess we'll start with you if she comes back in. So, Joanna, you raise your hand. You swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Account number R012288, owner Tammy M. Reed, address 828 DeChoso Street, Pagosa Springs, Colorado 81147, requesting an abatement based on being overvalued as a view lot in the neighborhood. This property was a washout running all the way through the center of the property, as well as a rock ledge, making most of the property unusable. Purchase price of $65,000 is due to most of the lot being unusable. Properties used to set the median value are usable lots, therefore an accurate assessment value of 828 DeChoso Street. Assessor recommends a denial of this abatement for the following reasons. See attached documentation. In reviewing the comps in the subject, we do not feel that the drainage nor the rock ledge are enough of an issue to drop the per acre value. If terrain was an issue, it would certainly be reflected in cell number 9, 1268 DeChoso. This property was a superior view lot, but steep hilly terrain and the cost to install a driveway had to been quite costly. Actually, 2 of the cells had more severe terrain issues, but superior views to the subject. Cell number 2, 1654 Carina Place, has similar terrain and views to cell number 9. However, it is the second to the low cell of the comparable cells. Look at cell number 1, 312 Meadows Drive, and cell number 5, 187 Conte Place, or cell number 6, 92 Pacifico. All these lots are 5.01 acres. All of them are flat lots with terrain issues. They are less than a half a mile from each other. And they all sold within about 6 months of each, yet the flattest lot sold for much less per acre than the others. The sales data does not indicate that good flat terrain, but rather the view is the driving factor of the property value. The purchase price of all the properties with the views were included in this view land code category and were grouped together to determine the median per acre value. One of the reasons we use the median is to account for these types of fluctuations. In doing our due diligence, we sent the aerial view to the property to the Building and Planning Department to ask about potential issues a property owner might face in obtaining a building permit on a property that has natural drainage running through the property. They stated that there should be no problems obtaining a building permit as the property has a couple buildable sites. Based on the sales data, we respectfully request the County Board of Equalization uphold the assessor's 2021 and 2022 value. Attached, we've included the sales, the median, with the price per acre for the median. We've also included a map with the subject property with all of the sales around it. The subject property is a 5.14 acre parcel of land in the Pagosa Springs subdivision. The parcel is in land code 882130, Pagosa Meadows View category. It is currently being valued at $20,958 an acre, or $107,720 rounded down. We've also included pictures from the subject property this winter that shows the drainage. Tasha's the one that did the inspection. She also discovered some sheds and stuff that we'll be putting on next year. So those are all the photos of the subject property, Tasha's inspection of the property, our emails back to building and planning, and we verified that there's no wetland issues or anything like that. So, any questions?
And all these photos are of that property there?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions until we hear from the petitioner. Is the petitioner show up? I haven't seen him.
There's a lady standing outside.
Jamie, would you mind checking?
I didn't see the
She's
shots.
just there. Just read.
That's Terry.
There is another lady though.
Terry and Alvin. Oh, it's Alvin. It's Terry and Alvin.
No, it's not her.
It's not her? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
No, sir, I don't.
The only question I had, I think I found it, was the petitioner's estimate was 85,000. That's right. And your actual is 107,720, is that correct?
Our actual value is 107,720.
Okay. All right. I have no questions. Excuse me. If there's no other questions, I'll take the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to agree with the recommendation of the county assessor and that the petition be denied for account R012288 for county and Reed.
A second. The motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 142 recess. The regular meeting, or adjourned, I'm adjourned.
Maybe there.
No vacant hearing, thank you, sir. Go to our Convention Liquor Board. Is this a problem?
You just, had this,
You good?
None of this is here.
No.
You're, I didn't swear you in for the liquor board. You raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this is a consideration of a special events permit for the Red Rider Rodeo. And our Savior Lutheran Church of Pagosa Springs, Colorado, to sell fermented malt beverage at the Western Heritage Event Center, 344 Highway 84, Pagosa Springs, Colorado, for the Red Rider Rodeo on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2022. The sheriff has been notified of this event. The proper fees were collected and the premises was posted for the required 10 days prior to today's hearing. The financial impact to the county is the fees paid for the county fee schedule, and the staff recommends approval of this special events permit.
Commissioners, have any questions?
No, sir.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a special events permit for Our Savior Lutheran Church of Pagosa Springs for their rodeo events on July 2, 3, and 4, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. On the consent agenda. The liquor board.
On the liquor board consent agenda, RMaez, consideration and approval of the tavern license renewal for San Marcel Holdings LLC, DBA Lone Wolf Bar and Grill. Item B, consideration and approval of a liquor store license renewal for David C. Olson, DBA Turkey Springs Trading Post. Item C, consideration and approval of a lodging and entertainment license renewal for Ghost Pines Properties LLC, DBA Tennyson Building Events Center.
Commissioner Schaaf, can I add something on this? Sorry, I forgot to tell you. The Tennyson Event Center, the building inspection came back yesterday and they have to get an after-the-fact permit for their new gazebo that they put in. It does not affect the perimeter of the licensed area, but approval of prior to giving them their license, it's kind of contingent on them getting that permit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry, Mary Holmanski, Executive Assistant.
Okay, Commissioner, got questions?
No, thank you.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the liquor board consent agenda as presented,
Second.
providing the Tennyson building receives the other alternate permit.
Second also for the amendment.
On a motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The brief pause, I think when we started the abatement hearing, I stated the date was June 22nd. So just amend that to the 1st of June. All right. Okay, we're going to adjourn the liquor board at 1:46 and on to the consent agenda.
On the regular consent agenda today, item A is payable warrants and purchase cards for June 8, 2022 through June 21, 2022. Regular meeting minutes of June 7, 2022. Item C, consideration of resolution 2022-51 to consolidate two lots into one lot in amended Aspen Springs subdivision number 6, owned by Morrow Woodwell. Item D, consideration of resolution 2022-52 to consolidate two lots into one lot in block 16 of Aspen Springs subdivision number 3, owned by Shanta Tucker and Zena. Item E, consideration of resolution 2022-53 to consolidate 3 lots into one lot in block 10 of Aspen Springs subdivision number 3, owned by Shanta Tucker and Zena. Item F, consideration of resolution 2022-54 to consolidate 2 lots into one lot in Holiday Acres subdivision owned by Mark Delaney. Item G, consideration of resolution 2022-55 to consolidate 2 lots into one lot in Pagosa Vista owned by Mary Christine Marin and Mary Jade Conger. Item H, consideration of resolution 2022-56 to consolidate 3 lots into one lot, Wildflower, into one lot, Wildflower, owned by Steve and Lori Cobb. Item I, consideration of resolution 2022-57 to consolidate 3 lots into one lot in the ranch community owned by Gene and Sydney Vanderdown. Item J, consideration and approval of amendment to contract for ACDHS legal services. Item K, consideration and approval of annual contracts for County Department of Human Services, multiple vendors. Item L, consideration and approval of a memorandum of understanding with Colorado Department of Human Services for Colorado Works Program. Item M, consideration and approval of memorandum of understanding with Colorado Department of Early Childhood. Item N, ratification of the chairman's signature on a notice of non-renewal of Muni-Rev's Inc. service agreement. That concludes your consent agenda.
Okay, entertain a motion.
May I make a comment or
Just go ahead.
So just for the other commissioners' knowledge, I found an error in the contract with the Ross Aragon Community Center, which was a point of question this morning at the work session. The error that I found, and I brought this to Mr. Weaver's attention, that the dollar value that we are agreeing to within this contract is $14,025 as it is written out. However, the dollar value is $14,000 even. Just so that's caught. Mr. Reaver said that he would speak with Ms. Beta to correct that, but just to make you aware if you didn't notice that. Thank you.
$14,025.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to, we did check with Isabel, and it should be 1425.
Okay.
And that'll be corrected prior to the chair's signature on the contract.
Very good.
Should probably be included in the motion.
Okay, now entertain a motion.
For the consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move to approve with the amendment of the agreement with the Ross Aragon Community Center to approve the consent agenda as presented with the amendment. Sorry. I was trying to think and talk at the same time.
Not second.
And the amount was 14,025, right?
14,025.
Okay, I second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now, new business. Oh, old business, sorry.
Old business.
Yes, old business.
Item A, consideration and approval of resolution 2022-58, approving the Archuleta County fee schedule pursuant to CRS 30-11-108. Board of County Commissioners are charged with establishing fees charged for county services. This resolution updates certain fees. Suggested amendments or addition to the fee schedule are attached and highlighted in yellow to ensure transparency on how the county represents charging fees. The fees that are, this is basically a change in fees that eliminates fees for recycling at the recycling center. There is also one which is there's a minor correction of $5 to one of the road right of way fees.
Commissioners have any questions?
The road right of way fee, is that part of the permit road right of way permit fee? Yes. Okay. I have no further.
My only comment would be, it's about time we're getting recycling at no cost for our community to try to promote recycling, which is the newest thing about 25 years ago, maybe 30. So I'm glad to see that come to pass.
More comments, questions? I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution 2022-51, amending fees for 58. Yes, I thought it was 51. So
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. Okay, 58, amending fees for county services and information as presented.
A second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, on the new business. Mr. Weaver.
Yeah, so the first agenda item, item A, is consideration of approval of reimbursement for attention and backfilling in Chris Mountain Village. This is from Harper's. They submitted for reimbursement, I believe, in the fall. They did a number of parcels out there. And in the spring, they ran electricity again up Monastery Court, which serves an additional 4 parcels out in Chris Mountain Village 2. And it's been confirmed by RMaez that they are entitled to reimbursement for $10,563.75.
Commissioners, have any questions?
No, sir, I don't think so.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a reimbursement from the Fairfield Settlement Fund to Clay Harbor in the amount of $10,563.75 for trenching and backfilling electrical service for 4 parcels in Chris Mountain Village 2 is presented.
Second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the also
B again. So item B is consideration and potential approval of a public hearing meeting rules for Board of County Commissioner meetings. This is simply a rules of decorum. This has been, a version of this has been adopted by virtually every single county in the state of Colorado. It is just rules of decorum and conduct, essentially asking people to act like adults. It talks about amount of time to really get through minutes, up to the discretion of the chair. At that time, the chair would extend that time. And so it just sets, I mean, really rules that we've had in place for, quite frankly, a long time. It's really they haven't written down, decided with a lot of recent meetings where things have gotten a lot of control. That's important to have the rules and so that people understand exactly what is to be expected of them. Sure, there's been some rumblings that it infringes on their First Right Amendment to free speech. That is absolutely 100% incorrect. Just for the record, the U.S. Supreme Court has stated multiple times, and I quote this, the state, no less than a private owner of property, has power to preserve the property under its control for the use to which it is lawfully dedicated. That's the U.S. Supreme Court from 1967. Further, the First Amendment does not guarantee access to property simply because it is owned or controlled by the government. That's from a U.S. Supreme Court case in 1981. The only restriction when it comes to rules of decorum is that they, for the most part, have to be neutral based. So it cannot state you can say this, but you can't say that. So these rules are neutral based. They do not attempt to control what type of comments people make, or even though, quite frankly, the comments before this board should be limited to business. That's not always the case. But these rules do not infringe upon or limit what type of comments people can make or what they say. It is just about behavior, about talking over other people, about essentially just requesting that they act like adults. And if they cannot act like the adults, a chair can excuse them from the room if they refuse to leave the room. That's disturbing the peace, and quite frankly, we could have them arrested in the room. So that's what this is meant to do.
questions or comments?
I have a comment. So I've read these a number of times, and there are 2 sections that I'm a little uncomfortable with. One of them being number 2, or 2.0. It reads, outbursts and interruptions from any persons in the hearing room, including shouting, clapping, booing, laughing, or other reactions to proceedings are prohibited. Some things that we hear in here are funny. They just are, and some are disturbing, and some are outrageous, and some are, they generate different feelings and reactions. And although I'm not a fan of getting beat up here every week, I also think that we ought to be careful on what kind of emotion and response that we are placing upon the citizens that we serve. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to outbursts and interruptions from persons in the hearing room are prohibited. But sometimes victories are won here, and I am not sure that clapping a little bit is not okay. I'm not talking about an extended standing ovation or anything, but that's my number 1 concern. My second concern is with 3.0, all comments from the public, and this is the part where I have a concern, shall only be made by Archuleta County residents. I'm not sure again that that's appropriate, because we have individuals that have interests in Archuleta County. They may not be voters, they may not live here. But sometimes the best ideas come from the least likely places. And I think we may be shutting that down. I would not be opposed to it reading absent that, all comments from the public who have been recognized by the board shall only be made to the chair, and then it has the parents, and it goes further. You know, although this is not violating the First Amendment as it is written, in my opinion, and as I understand it, I think we need to be careful of the slippery slope and some of the lines that we're putting on the public. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
I understand Commissioner Brown's thoughts, but I don't really agree with it. I think it's up to the board and the chair of the board to go to the meeting and govern the meeting as he sees accordingly. And either one of us can be the chair, and we should be able to understand how people's feel and see whether or not it's bad, good, or indifferent. And it should be solely up to our discretion to rule whether it's out of order or in order. And I think that's what 2.0 is about. 3.0, I've lived here all my life. I'm vested in this community. And I understand that, if you're not a county resident, you don't vote here, and you're not truly invested in this community. You merely just live here part-time. I understand the ideas are good. It doesn't shut them out from speaking. They can still come and speak, or they can reach out to us individually. But I don't have a problem with 3.0. I think if you really care about this community and you live here and you reside here, then you should be allowed a voice here. But if you don't live here, you're not truly vested. A lot of people keep their residence in other states simply because of revenue status, and the taxes aren't high. You gotta have skin in the game, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I see both points of views. I'm usually not devil's advocate. I think maybe 2.0 could be amended to say outbursts and interruptions won't be tolerated, and then leave it up to the board to decide which ones are not on an individual basis. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely.
And
It's
then-
like they said, the chair runs the meeting, it's up to his discretion.
And then on 3.0, I see both points here. Archuleta County residents should take precedence, but we also have people who don't reside here full-time who do have a lot of money tied up in our community, and we do get benefit from that as well, so I would be okay with just taking out the residents.
And just to clarify too, I mean, the real immediate reason behind 2 is where it becomes so disruptive
Right.
that county business can't be conducted, or people are taught, are basically trying to prevent someone else from making their comment.
Right.
And it becomes an intimidating setting where people who want to make a comment won't, because they feel intimidated by other people who are booing or hissing or clapping.
Right.
And that's really the point behind it, is to allow that everyone here has their own point of view and feel comfortable coming to the stand to make those comments and not feel intimidated
Right.
by a vocal minority.
And I totally understand where it's coming from, and I'll own it. Maybe I haven't done a good job of silencing people when they're out of order either. So I think I possess the capability, and whoever the board next will. So
And I'm more than happy to take the feedback and we can table it and bring it back, revise it. I mean, and that's fine. I just wanted to present this before the board. I presented it to you individually. And have feedback on, yeah, we think we should do this, just because we've had some pretty contentious meetings where things got a little out of hand. And I just felt, this is something that everyone needs to be aware of, regardless of your point of view. And we can change the language to whatever the board was comfortable with. So,
well, I think it's only fair to the public, people who come here to comment, that they know what's expected. So I think it's good in the whole. I'm good with, if we want to table and remove those two to their date, that's fine.
it's up to you.
I'm agreeable to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
So do we need a motion?
Yes,
I think we does business and get it done, and I think that's what we should do.
And if somebody wants to attempt to make that motion with those amendments, But either way, I guess I'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the county rules and public hearing meetings as presented, amending 2.0 to read outbursts and interruptions from any persons in their hearing room are prohibited, and amending 3.0, all comments from the public who have been recognized by the board and shall only be made to the chair, parentheses, no comment or question shall be directed at staff, at applicant or presenter, or other members of the public in parents.
Okay, there's been a
As
motion.
presented.
There's been a motion, is there a second? I'll go ahead and second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Motion passes with 2-1. Thanks, everybody. Okay, go back to you, Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
C.
So item C is the consideration and approval of 6 applications for treasurer's deeds. So this in effect, as we presented about 2 or 3 months ago, we were going to be coming for the board to submit applications for treasurer's deeds in phases. This would be phase 3 of that plan. So this will be, looking at my map here, 6 properties located in the Trails subdivision. They are generally around Ranger Park Drive and Lassen Drive. And so that is the next step. Just to remind the board, so the first step is to apply for treasurer's deeds. Once that is done, we file court action to quiet title them so they are fully marketable. And then at that point in time, they go for public auction. So this is the very first step in a 6 to 8 month long process. And again, we're just doing it in phases to, again, lessen the workload not only on my office, but also on the treasurer's office, who has to handle all the treasurer's deeds applications.
Got any questions?
No, sir.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve 6 separate applications for treasurer's deeds as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Here, if you take over the meeting.
Okay, sure will. You have your. Sorry. That's okay. Next up is our county's pay scale. Tina, would it?
HR Director, Archuleta County. At the June 14th work session, we presented the results of a market survey. The survey results suggest that we adjust our employee compensation to the 60th percentile of the current market. It's important to note that not every county, not every current county employee will be impacted by the market rate adjustment. We have approximately 23 employees who are currently at or above the market rate. So they will not see an adjustment. As stated previously, approving the market adjustment will bring our employees up to the market rate for their positions and also help eliminate the compression situation that we're currently experiencing. One of the commissioners had mentioned that you'd also like to have a current performance review on file for all county employees prior to the market wage adjustment. And so that's what my request has been. The cost to bring employees to the market rates for the remainder of 2022 will be just under $200,000, and the 2023 cost will be approximately just under $400,000. And so we're just asking that you approve this today.
Question? Commissioner?
None other than just caution, like I've stated before. I mean, this is gonna affect our budget, a lot, and in the future budgets, but I do see where it's warranted for the employees to get a fair wage for a fair day's work, but, I do want us to be cautionary about it when we start looking at the budget next year, as well as re-amending for this year.
I guess my comment would be, I appreciate the work, both that you and, finance have put into this. Louise, and in the fact we've had a presentation about this at a work session, and as I understand it, the revenues will be found in our PILT money, our payment in lieu of tax money, that will support the increase to the budget, as I understand it. So I appreciate the effort, the work, and also in the good faith effort for us to be able to attract and retain employees as a county.
Now you give me something. Also, you know, the PILT money is only for this next 6 months. It's not for next year's budget, so we have to amend that, so that PILT money is not.
It's not guaranteed revenue.
Right. Okay, looking at the bottom line number on this, is that full, all the employees, as well as the ones that are paid and not the vacancies that are filled?
And you're talking about the 390?
Yes.
So that represents bringing the employees to the current market rate plus the county's portion of the benefits like the retirement.
Yeah, those are the ones that are currently employed.
So those
What about
are,
the vacant positions though too? Is that number including the vacant positions?
yes.
Okay, that's all I want.
Further questions?
No.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve, unless I stop here. Move to approve adjusting the county pay scale and approve an adjustment for the remainder of the 2022 pay year. On the page. Wow, really showing. Certain positions effective August 1st, 2022 is presented.
I second.
Yeah, that's a rough one,
All those in favor?
huh? Aye.
Aye. Pass. Thank you. Appreciate it. Also, we have a revising of the personnel policy and procedure handbook for county employees.
We can call the chair back into the room now. Since-
Yeah.
Yes, if you can call him back. Yeah, this conflict of interest is only in the first item, not item
Thanks for clarification. Real easy.
So the traditional paid vacation and sick time versus a PTO day. So HR was asked by the commissioners, I believe at the end of 2021, to create a presentation of transferring over to a PTO based program. So paid time off is the time that an employer provides the employees for things like vacation and sick days, allowing them to be paid normally for the time that they can't spend at work. A PTO plan combines designated leave plans, vacation days, sick days, and personal days into a single paid leave bank. Employees are allowed to take time off for any reason, vacation, personal time, sick time, with no designation of sick hours or vacation hours or personal hours. As a trade-off for allowing employees to use these days as an employee chooses, employers often reduce the number of hours or days available to accrue when establishing a PTO plan. Similar to the traditional leave program, an employee should request time off with advance notice except in an emergency situation. One of the main reasons that many companies favor a PTO is its simplicity. The employer doesn't need to keep record of each leave type with the days allowed and spent. Any time off is deducted from one single pool. This allows reducing effort spent on leave management, and it treats employees like adults and letting them designate what time they're going to take. Research shows that people are more productive when they take breaks, and employees come back recharged and refocused, which makes them a happier, more productive employee. So currently, employees accrue sick leave and vacation leave on a monthly basis, and an employee accrues 8 hours of sick leave per month. The maximum accrual in a sick bank is 480 hours. An employee can reach their maximum accrual in 5 years. Employees who leave employment after 5 years of service are eligible for half of their sick bank to be paid out, 240 hours. Employees accrue vacation leave at an increased level based on the years of service. So 1 to 5 years is 80 hours per year with a max accrual of 160. 6 to 10 years is 120 hours per year with a max accrual of 180. And 11 years is 160 hours per year with a max accrual of 240. Employees can reach their max accrual in their vacation leave in just 2 years. So employees are paid out their accrual vacation upon termination of employment with the exception of probationary employees. Currently, once the max accrual is reached, employees do not accrue additional time. So employees who have been employed with the county for 5 years or more can opt to pay down their vacation banks, meaning that they can ask to have up to 80 hours of vacation paid out in lieu of taking time off. Converting to a PTO platform is beneficial for the employee because employees will have more discretion on how they use their time. They won't need to designate sick time or vacation time because it comes from the same pool, and it's easier for the employee to manage their time off bank. It's beneficial to the county in that it's easier for the county to manage one bank instead of several banks, and it's cost effective. So I present the following PTO plan for approval: 1 to 5 years, 120 hours per year. 6 to 9 years, accrual of 160 hours per year, and 10 plus years, accrual of 200 hours per year. Accrual rates are 40 hours more than the current vacation accrual rate, although it's less than the combined sick and vacation accrual rate. And to give you a financial picture of what the impact of converting to a PTO plan would be, the average hourly wage for county employees is $24.50. If an employee leaves and has 480 hours in their sick bank and 240 hours in their vacation bank, they're going to be paid out half of their sick bank, 240 hours, plus their vacation bank of 240 hours, which means the county is going to write them a check for $11,760. With the PTO program with an average hourly rate of $24.50, the max accrual bank is $360. The payout goes from $11,760 to $8,820. So the savings is $2,940. If you multiply that by 150 employees, the county's going to save $441,000 in payouts. So we can make it effective with the market adjustments on August 1st. There are 14 employees who have excess hours over the cap, so we'll need to make arrangements for them to use the hours by December 31st. Or we can make this effective December 31st, allowing employees to reduce their banks prior to the new program. Questions?
I just have one question on what they carry over each year. So if they've been here, but they're only carry over for 10 years beyond 100 hours each year? Or they
Up to 360 hours.
Okay.
So 360 would be the cap.
My comment is the point of time off is to use your time off. And a lot of times we're in situations within the county and we don't have a quarter on the market where we simply have no one else to work. And as a result, our employees end up working a lot of time. I think that this would allow them more flexibility to take time off when they have the option of taking the time off. So when it comes down to we keep somebody to work because there's no one else to work, it may make it easier. I kind of like the aspect of letting it run to the end of the year because I think I see that as that's the deal with me, and I'd like to let them have the time to use that. And I don't know what options would be if it were a payout or whatever, but I think that this is easier bookkeeping. I think it provides more again flexibility for our employees. I think this is just a better option. So thank you for your work on this again. This is another project that's been very cumbersome, I'm sure, and a lot of effort has gone into it from finance and nature.
I said what I said earlier.
Well, I appreciate all your work. leave that to the last months. So far, you have anything else? Nothing else, I didn't get a question.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution 2022-59, revising the personal policy and procedure handbook for county employees.
Second. Motion and second.
We need to have an effective date.
Oh, yeah.
Is that your motion, please?
So I guess I would amend that to read January 1, 2023.
Second, motion. Okay.